Welcome to the Design Master HVAC video tutorial series. This series will show you how to start a new project, use alignment points in your drawings, define your building and perform load calculations, create and manage diffusers, insert and modify ductwork, and perform advanced ductwork techniques. If you'd like to follow along, links to the written tutorial and project files can be found at the bottom of this page. This video covers defining your building and performing load calculations. Topics include setting project information, defining floors, creating rooms, walls, and partitions, assigning rooms to zones, viewing load calculations, and creating load calculation maps. Let's get started. The first step in performing load calculations is setting information about the entire project using the Project Info command. In this dialog box, you can set the project name, calculation methods and settings, where the building is located, and more. Press the Select City button. Select Washington, then Seattle, and press the OK button. The elevation and temperature values for the city are supplied for you, but can be changed if needed. You can also choose to calculate loads for several months, but this will increase the time it takes to perform the calculation. We'll use the default settings. The next step is to define the floors in your building using the floor list command. By default, a new project starts with floor 1 defined. Set the default ceiling height to 10 and floor-to-floor height to 13-6. Then press the Save button. To define a new floor, press the New button. We'll name this Floor 2. Set the default ceiling height to 9 and floor-to-floor height to 12-6. Next, we'll define the roof. Check the roof box and set the roof type to R19 on wood. Press the Save button to save your changes and close the dialog box. Now that the floors have been defined, we can begin defining the rooms, walls, and partitions for the building. We'll start with the Create Room command. Here, you can set the room name or number, room type, floor, and zone, which we'll cover later in this video. You can press the Edit button beside each field to make changes to the selected room type, floor, or zone. Set the room name and type to Kitchen. Then press the Create Room button to draw the outline of the room around the kitchen on the drawing. The outline is drawn the same way as any other polygon in AutoCAD. When you are finished, you will be asked to insert a callout for the room, which contains the room name, type, and area. Run the Create Room command again. Set the room name to Lobby and the type to Lobby Main Entry, and begin drawing the outline for the lobby, reception area, and stairwell. Your drawing should look like this when you finish. Run the Create Room command again. Set the room name to Concession. We don't have a room type that fits this room, so we'll need to create one. Press the Edit button, then the New button to create the concession room type. Once the room type has been created, you can set values that affect the heating and cooling loads for the room. Make the changes shown for lighting, ventilation, infiltration, and people. Then press the Save button and close the dialog box. Set the room type to Concession Then press the Create Room button and outline the concession area. To make changes to rooms on the drawing, use the Query Room command and select a point inside a room, such as the lobby. This dialog box is similar to the one for editing room types, but the values you set here will only affect this specific room. Check the latent gain box and set the latent gain to 6,000. Then save and close the dialog box. Once the rooms have been defined on the drawing, you can use the Query Wall command to make changes to the walls. We'll start with this wall in the kitchen. By default, walls are inserted as interior walls with no heat transfer or solar gain. This is an exterior wall, so we'll select the wall option. We can now adjust the wall, door, and glass settings for the wall. Set the wall type to brick R19 and press the OK button. Exterior walls and partitions will appear thicker on the drawing. Once you've defined a wall, rather than repeat the process for identical walls, you can simply use the Match Wall Properties command. Select the wall we've already defined. Select the other exterior kitchen wall, and continue until all of the exterior walls have been defined. Your drawing should look like this when you finish. If we run the Query Wall command and select the exterior wall of the concession area, the values are the same as the wall we defined. To add a window to this wall, select Complex. Set quantity to 1, width to 7, and height to 4. Close the dialog box and query this wall in the lobby. Set the door type to wood. Select Complex and add one 6x7 door. When creating partitions, rather than define the walls of the room itself, you'll make changes to the adjacent rooms. To create partitions for the long copy room and storage area, we must define wall partitions for the lobby and corridor, as well as floor-ceiling partitions for the rooms directly above. On the second floor, use the Create Room command to create these rooms with the room types shown. Make sure the floor is set to 2 for both rooms. Define a room for the corridor on the first floor as well. For this lobby wall, we only need to define the part of the wall being shared with the long copy room. We can insert a break in the wall using the Insert Wall Point command. Select the point where the lobby wall meets the corridor. And the two sections will now be treated as separate walls. Use the Query Wall command to define one of the adjacent walls. Select Partition. Set wall type to Wood R19 and close the dialog box. Then use the Match Wall Properties command to define the other partitions. The floor-ceiling partitions for the second floor rooms are set in the room definitions, which we can access from here using the Edit Rooms command. This dialog box, which is the same one that appears when using the Query Room command, allows you to make changes to any room in the project, including rooms not on the current drawing. Using the Next and Previous buttons, or the Find button, select the Bait and Switch room. Check the floor-ceiling partition box and the Include partition box. Set % to 100 and U value to 0.5. Press the Save button, then find the Manager office. Enable the partition. Set % to 85 and U value to 0.5. Then save and close the dialog box. Zones are defined with the Zone List command. Press the New button and name this zone AHU. We'll use the default settings for this zone. Press the Save button, then the New button to create another zone named VAV1. Set the zone above to AHU. Press the Save button, then the Copy button to create another zone with the same settings, named VAV2. Press the Save button and close the dialog box. To assign rooms to a zone, use the Zone Tree command. This dialog box lists all of the rooms and zones in the project. To assign a room to a zone, select a room, then drag and drop it onto the zone. You can use the Shift and Control keys to select multiple rooms. Once you have your rooms assigned, press the OK button to close the dialog box. Now that the project, rooms, walls, partitions, and zones have all been defined, we can calculate the loads for different parts of the project. To view the load for a single room, use the View Room Load command and select a point inside the lobby. Here, you can view the current load calculation for the room, recalculate loads for the room, and print the loads. You can also adjust the month and time, and the values will update automatically. To view loads for a zone, run the Zone Tree command. Select a zone, and press the View Load button. You may be asked if you want to calculate the load for the zone. Select Yes. This dialog box works the same way as the dialog box for room loads. For more broad or specific load calculations, use the Print Load Calculations command. Here, you can select which calculations to view, whether sections are separated during printing, and which areas are included. To view loads for the entire project, select the city at the top of the list and press the Calculate and Print Loads button. The load calculation will be saved in the folder as an HTML file and open automatically in your default browser. From here, you can view loads for each room and zone, as well as print the calculations using your browser's print function. You can also display load calculations on the drawing using the Display Load Calculation Map command. Here, calculations are filtered by the type of area, load category, and load value. We'll start with the heating room load and infiltration as a percentage of the total. Press the Calculate and Display Map button. You'll be asked to specify an insertion point for the map scale. Select a point on the drawing, and the scale and load calculation map will be inserted. Run the command again, and select a new value. This time we'll use the cooling room load and people in BTU per square foot. Because nothing has changed since the last time a calculation was performed, we only need to press the Display Map button. The scale and map will be updated in place for the new values. If you make changes to a room using the Query Room command, such as setting the number of people in this corridor to 4, You can quickly update the current map with the Update Load Calculation Map command. You can also use the Display Load Calculation Map command to view how zones are laid out on the drawing. Select a zone level from the area type and press the Display Map button. Each zone appears as a different color. To remove a load calculation map, use the Erase Load Calculation Map command. This concludes Part 2 of the HVAC video tutorial series. In the next video, we'll cover how to create and manage diffusers.